Welcome to Quick Takes, where I'll be running you through some PS2 games that'll only run you a couple of bucks. Combined, the three games I have here cost less than $10 to acquire. First up is Technic Beat from Arika. Technic Beat is as simple a rhythm game as they come. Markers appear on the screen, you walk over to them, and you press the square button when the inner circle reaches the outer circle to activate them, which plays part of the song. Markers can be moved, allowing you to create chains and combos for more points. There are many playable characters, each one interacting with markers in unique ways. The simplest character just picks them up and drops them. Another one increases the size of markers she picks up, but walks slower when she's holding one. Dwight Schrute can kick markers to different locations to activate them from a distance. The platypus slides with them. You get the deal. Each character also has a special safety move, which lets them activate many markers in one go. Some characters are easy to pick up and master, while others have much steeper learning curves. Technic Beat's main gimmick is that you can manipulate the music while you're playing. You can play parts of the song early or delayed, add echoes, and raise or lower the pitch with the analog stick. Depending on how you stand and place markers, you can change the order in which chains activate, or activate two markers at once to make a chord. It's neat, but I don't think it adds a lot or sounds all that good. It feels like a child's interpretation of what being a DJ is like. Featuring 80 songs from a broad variety of techno genres, this game boasts quite the repertoire for its time. From what I can tell, most of the songs are original, and they mostly sound good. The game does have its fair share of bad songs, which will sound even worse when you start messing with them. You have a good handful of game modes to play with, including a typical arcade mode, free play, two-player mode, if you have friends, a sudden death mode that forces you to play perfectly, and a pretty deep challenge mode, which I think serves as a better intro to the game than the actual tutorial did. For what it is, Technic Beat is pretty decent and would make a good addition to your library if you were in search of a cheap, simple, and fun rhythm game that didn't require any kind of peripheral. Moving on, we have RTX Red Rock, developed and published by LucasArts. The year is 2113. Light-emitting demons, or LEDs, invaded Earth, but they lost. So they decided to invade Earth's Mars colony instead. And instead of sending their army to Mars to protect the colony from the impending conflict, Earth calls in one guy. Major Wheeler, a womanizing war vet who comes out of retirement for one last mission. Armed with a single gun, a cybernetic eye, and a portable robot assistant, you, as Wheeler, are going to explore the Mars colony, rescue humans, and fight off LEDs in this bog-standard third-person action-adventure title. RTX Red Rock's typical level structure is that you load into the area, get to one of these terminals, slap your robot assistant in, and she gives you a rundown of what's going on with that section of the colony and what tasks you'll have to do to reach your story objective. These tasks consist of finding key items to access or repair parts of the colony so you can talk to certain story NPCs or access different terminals. Your assistant can also commandeer some machines, which allows you to do different kinds of tasks, such as entering smaller vents, moving boxes around, and piloting a giant laser drill to clear obstacles and destroy LEDs. Sometimes, you have to do this horribly designed minigame where you take control of this ball that goes around circuits endlessly. Your goal is to pick up this red signal bit and take it to the gold output terminal, while avoiding the logic gate that will make you drop the bit. You can rotate around the circuit to avoid hazards, and pressing the triangle button will switch which circuit you travel on. Seems simple, right? But the way the circuit is laid out, you can only reach the output terminal by going through the logic gate. So you just keep picking up and dropping the bit. I had no idea what the game wanted me to do with these limited options, so I just kept going around and around until suddenly the signal bit and the output terminal appeared on the same circuit, and I won. Even after going over the footage, mapping it out, and consulting a walkthrough, I still don't get it. Anyway, once you receive your tasks from your assistant, you will also be given some maps for the specific rooms those tasks are located. It's difficult to figure out exactly where on the overall map these places are and how exactly you get from one place to another. After some thorough exploration, you might get a sense for where things are, but it's easy to get lost, especially with a lot of corridors looking the same, and with some air vents and passageways looping around on each other. Even though the maps do tell you how far away you are from a given task, whether you need to go up or down to get there, and what your rough position is relative to the map, it doesn't make up for not having just one big, complete, and detailed map that had all the different tasks and rooms labeled on it. After the first level, navigation is a major hassle, as the areas get bigger and have you travel far and wide, up and down and in and out of buildings just to reach a single task. This problem is compounded by a pretty bad camera that doesn't let you pitch up or down without reverting to this low default position. LEDs are scattered around the Mars colony and they don't put up much of a fight. When your gun is out, you will automatically lock onto them, so you just have to run around and mash the shoot button to win. You can replenish your health with any first aid kits you find or buy, but it's not easy to use the D-pad to navigate the menu to use them in the heat of battle. This would be a significant problem if it wasn't overshadowed by the fact that there is no consequence for dying in this game. You just instantly respawn a room or two from where you last were, with no progress lost, and any enemies you've killed will remain dead. No wonder Earth only sent one guy in. He's immortal, and LEDs have nothing on the power of sheer attrition. In this action-adventure game, the action is mundane and pointless, and the adventuring is aggravating and painful. And on top of that, there are technical problems too, resulting in noticeable slowdowns and stutters from time to time. Games this rough only cost $1 for a reason. The final game I have for you is a pleasant reprieve from RTX Red Rock. Spy Hunter is the 2001 remake of the 1983 arcade game of the same name, both developed by Midway. In it, you are the driver of the G6-155 Interceptor, a spy vehicle equipped with various weapons, gadgets, a turbo booster, and the ability to traverse both the land and the sea. Your goal is to take down evil corporation man who wants to use his technology to rule the world, and you will do this by driving around different cities and environments to blow up his stuff and gun down his men. You have 14 different missions to take part in, each one with various objectives for you to complete, such as destroying certain vehicles or objects, shooting GPS trackers at specific enemy vehicles, and taking care not to harm any civilians while you do so. The Interceptor turns, brakes, and accelerates quite smoothly with controls that should be familiar to most. Your arsenal includes both offensive and defensive weapons, from front-facing miniguns and guided missiles to rear-facing oil slicks, smoke clouds, and flamethrowers. Eventually, you get a scanner that lets you see invisible lasers and lets you make out disguised targets from civilian vehicles. Your turbo is useful for making up lost ground and making big jumps and recharges over time. If your health gets too low, the car will break away into a motorcycle, losing its turbo, its defensive weapons, and one of its miniguns, but gaining a significant speed boost until you get to a repair truck. The enemies are pretty varied, and my favorite ones are the cars that will drive alongside you and mess with your steering because it looks really cool. When starting a mission, you have the option to review what your enemies will look like, so you don't confuse them with civilians. And you get a visual rundown of what your objectives look like as well. You will also get color indicators during the mission to mark those objectives according to what you have to do to them. So like you get one color to indicate things to destroy, but a different color to indicate vehicles you need to shoot trackers at. With how fast you're going in this game, it would have been easy to zip by these things without knowing what they were, so it's good that Midway spent the time and effort to ensure that the player is aware of what they're supposed to do and where everything is located. Ahem. Unfortunately, Spy Hunter didn't get by me scot-free, as it suffers from a rather large boo-boo. Upon completing a mission, you'll receive a point for each objective you completed. Future missions are unlocked through accumulating enough points. At first, I thought this was a great idea, as it would have been similar to how collectathons are designed. You'll need a certain number of goobers to reach the end of the game, but there's so many goobers that you don't need to collect each and every one. You can skip the harder ones and just get the ones you are comfortable with. However, I was wrong about my assumption. You need 57 objective points to access the last mission, and up until then, you can only get a total of 61 points. So, across the first 13 missions, you can only neglect to do 4 objectives. This wouldn't be as much of a problem if not for the SATCOM objective, which has you collect these glowing objects. This objective is much harder to get than the others, as the SATCOMs are usually out of the way and require you to find and use shortcuts and ramps in order to get them. Once you do figure out how to get all the SATCOMs in a mission, you still have to do all the other objectives and reach the end before the timer runs out, or it won't count. I always saw these things as a bonus objective, but because of this point system, they are far from optional if you want to finish the game. They should have lowered the points needed for the final mission and provided a bonus for players who 100%ed the game by going for SATCOMs. Aside from this rather large issue, which completely halted my progress 3/4 into the game, Spy Hunter was a ton of fun, easily my favorite of the games I reviewed in this video. It looks great, especially at a consistent, smooth 60 FPS, and I am really glad to have played it. That's all I have for you today, so have a good one and expect more quick takes as I keep chipping away at this DOTAC video.